On this idea of I don't know as a leader, I watched a webinar this week with Stuart Lancaster, and for those that don't know rugby, Stuart Lancaster was the coach of the England rugby team. He had a bit of a struggle. He had a real tough time as the coach of the England rugby team. And after that, he is now one of the co-coaches of the Leinster rugby team, which is my rugby team in Ireland, one of the 4 kingdoms of Ireland, the 4 provinces of Ireland, Leinster. And Stuart Lancaster was a school teacher, rugby coach, and then he went on to be the coach of the English team. And he shared a story about how to lead. And one of the things that he put, it was a graph about a great leader, be here, and there was 2 axes. One was extremely competent. Everything you do it with an excellence. And the other graph was humility. So I'm totally open, curious, humble, believing I don't have all the answers. I'm a real expert, but I don't believe I have all the answers. And it's very often, when you find someone who has extreme competence, they become arrogant and judgmental of others who don't know as much as them. And what Stuart Lancaster was saying, as a leader, you've got to find a way of being extremely competent, knowing a lot about the things that you should know about, but remaining open and curious to other perspectives, others' point of view. And when someone says something that you don't understand, instead of calling them an idiot, asking yourself, what in what they're saying is possibly true? What are they seeing that I'm not seeing? What are they looking at that I'm not looking at? What perspective are they seeing that would lead a rational, honest people to take that stance? And I truly believe that nobody actively does an act that is stupid from their point of view. But if they're looking at different things, if they're evaluating their action in a different set of context than you, if you understand the way they're seeing the world, their act stops becoming stupid and entirely reasonable based on what they are seeing. And this stance, and I guess this book again is about this stance towards the world, that I don't have all the answers. I have my set of values, which are not the set of values. And it's very important that I get to know your set of values. I get to know my daughter's set of values, how they approach things, what they value, what's important for them in any particular thing, because it's probably going to be different than mine. And if I assume that what you're trying to maximize is the same set of things that I'm trying to maximize, then we're going to have an argument. There's a wonderful metaphor, and going back to these stories where you strip out the details and go down to the core of the story, about negotiation and the getting to yes. Roger Fisher in the book Getting to Yes shares a story. There's 2 boys and they're fighting. And they're fighting because there's one orange and they each want the orange. And they're fighting and neither of them is strong enough to win, so they exhaust themselves out. They finally agree. They both want the orange. So they agree the only reasonable option is to cut it in half, and one takes 1/2 and the other takes 1/2. And one boy takes his half of the orange, he pulls the peel off and he eats the pulp of the orange. The other boy takes his orange, he goes home to his mum who's making marmalade, he takes the peel off, he throws away the pulp, and he gives his mum the peel to put into the marmalade mixture. And what those 2 boys achieved was to lose an entire orange. Because in essence, if they'd understood what the other really wanted, there were 2 oranges. Because the boy who wanted the orange to give to his mum to make marmalade, he could have had the whole skin. The boy who wanted to eat the orange could have had the whole orange and given away the skin. But because they didn't stop to understand what the other truly valued, they destroyed a whole orange in the transaction. And it's not that I don't know is an answer, but that however much you know, you have to keep a gap open to that there's still more that I can learn, there's still more perspectives that can help me see things. Because when you believe that you know, you shut down your questions. The type of questions you ask are different. I think we've got 2 minutes now. I'm trying to think, can I tell the wheelbarrow story in that time? I'm going to tell you the wheelbarrow story on the idea of really keeping yourself in this space of I don't know, that there's still more perspectives that I can gain from. So back 20 years ago, there was a group, a tribe in Borneo discovered for the first time. They had no previous connection with the outside world. And a group of psychologists brought 6 of this Bornean hill tribe down to Singapore to show them the city, to show them civilization. And they were a week. They saw the airport, they saw skyscrapers, they saw supermarkets, they saw farms, they saw the home, the fridges, the ovens, the cooking. And after a week in Singapore, they returned back up to their mountain village. And on the last piece of the track driving up to the mountains to leave this Bornean hill tribe back where they lived, one of the psychologists asked them, what really stuck with you? What really impressed you from those days in Singapore? And the 6 members of the Bornean hill tribe were very excitedly speaking amongst each other. They'd clearly seen something that struck them. And when they finally agreed, they turned and they told the psychologists, the wheelbarrow. The one thing that they'd seen in Singapore that solved an immediate problem that they had was the wheelbarrow. Everything else just went over their head. A skyscraper, it didn't have any context in their mind to fit. It was just a big tree. The only thing that truly solved something that was just at their next level of what they needed to solve was the wheelbarrow. And they were heading up to their village thinking, we have seen paradise. All of our historic generations carrying weights on their shoulders. From now forward, all of time, we will never again have to carry great weight on our shoulders. We have seen the wheelbarrow. And I believe that when I'm speaking to Warren Buffett, if I had the luck of speaking to him, if he was to tell me in his language how to invest, most of it for me would be like me being someone from the Bornean hill tribe looking at Singapore, just going over my head. It's so far beyond my current capability of understanding that it just goes over my head. And when I do work with groups of entrepreneurs, groups of leaders, one of the processes that we work on in the groups is becoming open to how massive the zone of all the things that you don't know really is. So that idea, let's go back for the last minute here.